Hi everyone, and welcome to another image review video where I'm going to be discussing these images that I captured in my Are You a Good Photographer video. And if you stick around to the very end, there's a bonus image which I'll pop up at the end that you can see too. I captured it on the same morning, but it just didn't make the video, so stay tuned for that. Before I get into discussing the images, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on some of the things that I've mentioned before. If you watched this video a few weeks ago, you'll remember that I mentioned that I've been talking to a local mental health charity about offering photography as some kind of activity or something like that to their service users. The good news is that they've accepted me and they want me to come on board, and we've had a few discussions about what this could possibly look like, and it sounds really exciting. All that outstands really is that I need to get formally trained so that I can deal with some of these people, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll give updates of how that's moving along in these videos in the future. You'll also remember in that video that I did mention I want to volunteer like this as much as I possibly can, and I want to continue making my YouTube videos where I spread the message about how photography is really good for your mental well-being and what have you. In order for me to do that, there are certain things that need to happen. I need to free up time for that. Now, I could be doing my normal day job, which I get paid for, but I want to be able to do this. This is what I love and this is what I'm passionate about, and you can support me and also get some things thrown in at the same time. So you can buy prints off me and all that kind of stuff. I'll put the links down to my website, but also I will take this opportunity to mention I've started adding rewards to my Patreon page, so go and check that out. They start at $1 going up, and you get various rewards as the tiers go up. But one of the things that's available to all patrons who subscribe to me there is that you get to see some extra content. So for example, Outdoor Photography do a monthly feature, which is if you only shoot one thing this month, and it's a brief, and I've just recently completed a short video which is going to be patron exclusive, which sees me go out and work to the brief of the art of colour in landscapes. This is a bonus video for people who support me on Patreon. Now you'll see that I'm in a bit of a rush because the sun's rising, and we'll see if it gets featured. So if you're a patron, you can go to my page and you can see that video now, and they will come out monthly, but there'll be all sorts of other extra content and other rewards that you can find there. So as I said, go and visit my Patreon page to find out what they are, and if you want to, you can support me and get yourself a little something extra by becoming one of my patrons. So without further ado, let's talk about these images that I captured in my Are You a Good Photographer video. Incidentally, that's a question that I'm still kind of asking myself, of what makes a good photographer and what makes a good image, and does it have to be somebody else's opinion or my own? And I'm still very confused, but feel free to continue the discussion that started in the comments, or go and read some of the comments on that video now, and get involved in the conversation, because it can be quite an interesting subject, I think, of like what it is that we want to achieve as photographers and how we measure that achievement. But anyway, so let's look at this first image. I like this image. What I really like about it actually is the just the tones in there, so the light and dark tones there and the relationship between them. You've got the furrows in the field which really show the highlights of the sun coming in. You've got the trees which stand out against the bright sky. You've got the bright sun on the left and the darker shadows on the right. I really like that about this image. A couple of other things that really I like too, that catch my eye as well. The clouds are pointing down to the tree, and that just sort of highlights a little more what the main subject is, as if it wasn't obvious enough in this image, I suppose. But I also like how the early morning sun is catching the grasses down in the front. But then that leads me on to something that I am definitely going to shoot differently the next time I'm there. And this place is quite local to me and I can go there very often, so I've got the luxury where I can go and shoot this scene again and again and again. The grasses are too low down in the image. I included them because I like them, but then the space of the field, well, the space between the grasses and the subject of the tree is a little bit too big. I do like the light on the field, but it's a little bit too big, and so this is something that can be easily rectified out in the field by lowering the tripod, getting the camera closer to the ground, closer to the grasses, and then I can close the gap. It might not actually work, and maybe this image doesn't necessarily work either, but it's something I'm going to try, and I know that I can do that again, as I said, so there's no harm in trying again and seeing if I can make this image work even more. In the video I mentioned that I don't think I've made any improvement on any other images that I've caught from this location. I'd say they're on a par maybe, not an improvement as such, but I think what disappointed me a little bit on the morning was that I'd hoped, or I'd imagined, there were going to be some really long cast shadows from the side lighting of the sun, but it didn't really present itself in the way that I'd imagined it would. And that's just a lesson that you learn from going to the location at the time you want to shoot, and you find out, and it's something that I can use to shape my decisions about what I'm going to shoot there in future. The next image is this wider one, and this is probably my favourite of the two, actually, maybe because it's slightly more balanced in composition. Now maybe you're saying balanced? Balanced? What do you mean balanced? You'll be saying that because of this huge amount of negative space in the sky. For me, I like negative space. Not everybody does, but I think that it will always add to an image in the sense that it highlights what the subject is, or makes the focal point stand out even more on a blank background. Now there's a concept in photography that is often referred to as either simplifying your image or making your focal point stand out. It's actually called the figure-ground relationship, the figure being the main focal point, the ground being the background, and essentially that means that they need to be separate, so you need to be able to see what the focal point is against the background. Negative space really helps emphasize that, and that's why I like it. The other things that I like about this image again are the tones. Shortly after that first image, the sun's a bit higher. It does mean, unfortunately, that those clouds have moved further across, so they're no longer pointing at the tree. It's something you could fix in post-production work, but I tend not to do that, mainly because I probably couldn't make it look very good, or it would take me a very long time to do that, and I don't really have too much interest in spending hours and hours trying to make something look good. That might be a simple and easy procedure for some people, but for me, I'm not necessarily sure that I could pull it off. But yeah, I think on the whole, again, I like the image. I like the trees that lead in from the left that point up to the main subject in this one. It's emphasized by how wide it is. Yeah, it's another one that I'm pleased with. So those were the images. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion of them. A little reminder that if you've been watching my videos and my content and you've been a supporter all along but you're not yet subscribed, then do consider doing so. And if you want to be notified every time I put a new video out, then make sure you click the notification bell, and that'll ping you when my videos go live. Incidentally, for anyone that doesn't know, I normally put my main video out on Thursdays, and then I'll follow up on either Sunday or Monday with this image review and discussion and update video, which is kind of additional to, I call them DVD extras to the main Thursday video. But thanks again for watching, and as promised, here is the additional image that I captured that morning. It's additional and didn't make the video because I tried a little bit of post-processing, or a style of post-processing that I haven't really tried or done before, and I thought it looked quite effective. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Cheers.